Dissect the Emotional Finishing of Frankenstein. What manner of creature is that? Captain Anderson, Lars Mikkelsen, asks at some stage in the prelude of Guillermo del Toro's lavish new Frankenstein version. What way of devil made him? Both questions are at the coronary heart of del Toro's new movie, one that he's been aching to make when you consider as adolescents. They're also the inciting thoughts of Mary Shelley's seminal 1818 novel, Frankenstein, or The Cutting-Edge Prometheus, a book del Toro worships chiefly others. I lived with Mary Shelley's creation all my lifestyles, del Toro tells Netflix. For me, it's the Bible. At the same time, while Shelley's novel has inspired myriad interpretations over its centuries of life, it has endless opportunities, Oscar Isaac, who plays Victor Frankenstein, tells Netflix. Del Toro's dating together with his Bible is very non-personal. He aspired to make the tale his own, choosing an attitude aversion close and pricey to his heart. In del Toro's hands, Frankenstein is reborn as a tale of two lost souls, irrevocably intertwined via the statistics and ache of their own advention. In its vast strokes, it remains unswerving to Shelley's text. The Frozen prelude, especially, is drawn directly from the ebook. But del Toro's personal fixations bleed through his monster scars. I wanted to sing it again in a different key and with a different emotion, the filmmaker says. The spine of it have become a tale about a father and a son, and what it is to come to be a father after being a son. For Jacob Elordi, who plays the creature, del Toro's adaptation gets at the heart of Frankenstein. Frankenstein is the Gothic fairy tale, and Guillermo has sucked the essence out of the textual. In terms of circle of family, particularly father-son relationships. For me, the film is a communication with your father, the archetypical father-son relationship. You have the chance to eavesdrop on that conversation in Frankenstein, now streaming on Netflix, and here, because the cast and team tell us how they assembled del Toro's definitive creation. Who is Captain Anderson in Frankenstein? Frankenstein opens on a frozen tundra, where a crew of Danish sailors are chipping away at the Horisont, an ice-bound ship. Overseeing them is Captain Anderson, a fearless explorer determined to reach the North Pole. Requested by a subordinate if he'd considered turning around, Anderson is ruthlessly Kermy. The Horisont will continue to sail for the horizon, regardless of the price. That fee proves distinctly high. When Anderson hears an explosion, the crew discovers a frostbitten, one-legged man surrounded by a halo of blood, Victor Frankenstein. When he's brought aboard the ship, a towering disfigure emerges from the icy panorama, shouting for Victor. It charges for the vessel, savaging sailors and shrugging off bullets with ease. This is the creature, a seemingly invincible being who's pockmarked with scars and strong enough to move the ship itself. Anderson dispatches the creature, albeit briefly, by shooting out the ice under his feet with a blunderbuss. And the captain turns to interrogate Victor. What way of devil made him? I did. Shelley's model of Anderson is known as Robert Walton, but the thrust of the man is the same. A seemingly unfeeling pioneer, powering through the ice without a regard for the safety of those around him. You start with the captain, his back to the sun, as it rises, because that captain is a surrogate for Victor. As Victor tells Anderson later in the film, you share my illness. Both men are victims of their own achievement, determined to chase glory, irrespective of the cost. Del Toro wanted the prelude to feel real and not real all at the same time. There's a limbo sense to the prologue in the Danish ship trapped in the ice, he says. I wanted it to feel like an old film that was made in the heyday of Hollywood. I wanted it to be luscious and beautiful and operatic and all that. I wanted a real ship, and when the creature moves it, I wanted the creature to move it. To accomplish this, the production built the ship on a mechanical gimbal that was able to rock back and forth from side to side. If you do it for real, people have a sense, del Toro says. So we did the ship for real, whole. Inside, outside, everything. That dedication to verisimilitude is a quality del Toro shares with Victor, who spins his tale of handmade horror for Captain Anderson. What happened to Victor's mother? In Del Toro's film, Victor's story begins at the very beginning, when he was a young boy growing up on the vast Frankenstein estate. He's close with his mother, Claire, and distinct from his abusive father, Leopold, two relationships that will haunt him the rest of his life. Played by Charles Dance, Leopold is the most distinguished doctor of his time, a frosty titan who ruthlessly drills Victor's surgical knowledge and punishes him with lashings to the face when he's wrong. The bookend to Leopold's cruelty is Claire, who's played with the familiar Frankenstein face, Mia Goth, who later in the film will also be playing the role of Elizabeth, Victor's prospective sister-in-law and romantic fixation. I wanted the same actor that plays the mother to play Elizabeth, Del Toro says. Many men fall in love with their mothers, but they don't know it in a primitive Freudian way. To distinguish the two characters, Goth wore light prosthetics to play Claire and spoke only French. She also wore a thin red veil, part of Del Toro and cinematographer Dan Laussen's color theory. The mother and the house are red, so if Victor loses that, that's the color that should haunt him the rest of the film. He's the only character that wears red. Red gloves, red handbelt. The red chases him through the film. When Elizabeth dies in childbirth, Victor blames his father for failing to save her and turns to his guardian angel, an imagined figure of fire and death that coaxes him toward his ultimate goal, to conquer death. It's a cause drawn from both Victor's mother dying and his perceived failure of his father to save her. I wrote it for him, and he said, "Oh, this is an unlikable man." And I said, "Yeah, but he's the Big Bang." Leopold's influence chases Victor as he reaches further and further beyond the conventional wisdom of his educators and peers. He is desperate to be more than his father was, to go beyond the edge of science and overcome death.